is NDTV and you are watching NDTV Prime.
Welcome to a new CNB Bazaar Buzz. I'm Siddharth, Vinayak, Patankar, and first from me and the rest of the team, a very happy Diwali to all of you watching today, and I hope it's a prosperous new year for you ahead as well. We'll start off by, as always, taking a look at today's lineup. Hot for Diwali, it's a firecracker from Audi. The A5 and S5 are here and we have the review. Triumph inaugurates its first ever visitor centre at its UK headquarters. And looks like we're finally moving on the electric side of things with the first electric station being inaugurated. Right, so red hot for Diwali then, it is the Audi A5 and S5. Now we're getting the Sportback, we're also getting the Cabriolet, and so it's the first time that the A5 family has arrived into India. Remember, with the last generation we only had the S5 and it was in very limited volumes. Now let's see how the A5 does. It is an all-new car, we've driven it before for you, but we now have the India spec review.
Having a fancy badge on that grille up front is not enough anymore with luxury car buyers looking for a more educated choice. And while for most it is all about practicality or comfort, for some their luxury car is all about sex appeal. And that is where the A5 family comes in. The A5 family is available in 3 variants and 2 body styles. The standard A5 Sportback costs 54,20,000 rupees, while the convertible costs 67,51,000 rupees. Both are available only with a diesel engine. If you want a petrol, you have to opt for the more powerful S5 instead, which is priced at 70,60,000 rupees and is only available as a Sportback. Now this is the first time the A5 family is coming to India. We've had the S5 before. And the most distinctive feature of the car is, of course, the coupe-like body style. Now Audi has done it really well. There's almost a continuous line that runs right from the front tip all the way across on the hood, on the roof, and swoops right into the tailgate there. Now this is, of course, a more stylish car as compared to your average sedan, and in my opinion that's one of the biggest reasons to get it. It might not be as practical, but it is a lot more beautiful. The other design features that really stand out is the new Audi grille, which has a considerable amount of detailing within the slats and the chrome accents on the front and rear bumper. The A5 also gets a really nice set of split 5-spoke wheels. Now the boot might not be as large as your average sedan has, but it does have a really wide loading area, which means that you can get a lot of luggage in and it's easily accessible. And as you can see, we have all our stuff thrown in and you still have a little more space to play around with. And you have a little electric button to shut it, which if you're driving a car this cool looking, that's a cool feature to have. Now the Audi A5's interiors are very contemporary in a very typically Audi fashion. So everything is very horizontally set. For example, this continuous AC vent on the dashboard is very reminiscent of the Q7, and the dashboard itself is made out of this nice matte finish textured wood. Other features include the large LCD screen on the instrument cluster, which comes as standard across the variants, and that's really cool because that's a feature like on the A4 that we love quite a lot, and it can be configured to your options. You can have either the full navigation screen or you can have 2 large dials depending on what you want. You also get a large sunroof that really helps making the slightly cramped cabin a little airier. And talking about that cramped cabin, the coupe roofline does reduce rear leg space and headroom, but it is still usable, especially if you have up to 4 people in the car. Now, although the A5 body style does have its sporting pretensions with the coupe-like body style, under the skin it is pretty much an A4. Suspension though does feel slightly stiffer, and the car does feel like a bit more driver oriented. There's a bit more feedback from the steering wheel and it does feel a little more pointy, a little more precise. That said, it is still extremely comfortable, and even on these rural roads, which aren't exactly the best, it does take it really well. It soaks in the bumps well, and it hasn't bottomed out, which is quite a feat for most luxury cars in India. Now, under the hood, the parts sharing with the A4 family continues, and you get the tried and tested 2-litre diesel engine from the VW group that makes 188 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. Now, the A5 diesel just gets the front-wheel drive drivetrain, and there will not be the Quattro all-wheel drive in India, and that's pretty much sensible considering the weight saving that you have on the A5 and the fact that it isn't a performance car. That said, performance figures aren't bad either. You have a 0 to 100 time of about 7.9 seconds and a top speed of well over 230, and that's more than enough for any car on any Indian road. The A5 then is the perfect car for somebody looking for a luxury automobile for about 50 lakh rupees and is willing to sacrifice a bit of practicality for the sake of good looks and design. So now that we've driven the more sensible version of the A5 family, the one with the diesel engine, it's time to drive something a little quicker, a little more exciting. The evil twin, if you'd like, of the A5, the brand new S5 Sportback. You would be hard pressed to differentiate between an A5 and an S5, initially even we were. But if you do take a closer look, you see the sportier bumpers, the larger air intakes, an unassuming lip spoiler at the rear, and a different rear bumper with built-in diffuser, and of course those larger wheels. The insides too are similar to the A5, but the S5 can actually be ordered with an all-black or a dark red interior package. The wood has been replaced, but sadly there isn't any exposed carbon fiber. You do, however, get lovely suede racing bucket seats. Now, Audi's S-badge performance cars have always been really great daily drivers because you don't get insane performance that the RS line gets, but you do get a lot of power and a lot of speed. Now, this car in terms of mechanical bits is very similar to the last generation, which means you still get the direct injection turbocharged 3-litre V6, but of course it does make more power now. So it makes 349 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque, and those aren't mind-bending figures, but again, when you're talking about daily driven performance, when you're talking about a car you can actually use on a daily basis and it offers decent fuel economy and a ton of power, this pretty much suits the bill really well. And you get the Quattro all-wheel drive, which, especially when combined with the driving modes like comfort or dynamic, means you can use it in almost any weather situation without having to worry about grip. Just like with the A5, I am genuinely surprised as to how well the S5 handles itself when presented with bad roads. There is no bottoming out and scraping, and potholes, even with the bigger wheels on, are not as intrusive as you might imagine. And at the end of the day, if you do really want to let your hair down and push that pedal to the metal, it does reward you with a really nice engine note as well.
Cyrus having some fun there in Rajasthan with the new Audi A5 and S5. Now we move on to the UK, where in Hinckley at the Triumph Motorcycles headquarters there has been a lot of action. Now the company has really come into its own Its models are doing very well globally, and it is looking to become a lot more profitable as well going forward. So it's natural that it wants to spread its wings and also show off a little bit. There is a new visitor center that Triumph has opened in Hinckley, and Preetham Bora was there to attend that inauguration.
Triumph Motorcycles opened the gates to a brand new visitors centre at the British motorcycle brand's headquarters in Hinckley, England. The visitor centre will open to the public from 1st November, and visitors to Triumph's main factory will get to see the world's largest and rarest collection of Triumph motorcycles. Open 5 days a week, entry to the visitor centre at Hinckley will be free of cost, and visitors can also book a guided tour of the Hinckley factory. Showcasing an exclusive collection of exhibits, the visitor centre is now home to some of the most famous Triumph bikes, including the most famous Triumph on celluloid, Triumph Bonneville, on which Steve McQueen attempted to jump the border fence in the 1963 movie The Great Escape. The visitor centre is now also home to the Triumph Speed Triple ridden by actor Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2. Complete with bullet holes on the bodywork and rear seat, the Speed Triple now proudly stands on display at Hinckley. There are other equally famous motorcycles from Triumph's history in motorsport. Race bikes from several decades showcase Triumph's racing history, and even the latest Rocket Streamliner, which was raced at the Bonneville Salt Flats in the US to create a new land speed record. The visitor centre is spread across 8 distinctly themed areas, and for motorcycle enthusiasts, it's a must visit on Triumph's home ground, Hinckley.
We'll take a short break here. Keep watching Bazaar Buzz.